We're taking an 18-day Holland America Land and Sea tour that'll take us up the Alaskan coast, then spending 3 days in the Denali National Park, along with a visit to Dawson City and Whitehorse in the Yukon. We're flying into Vancouver via Denver on Air Canada. We were surprised we were on such a small aircraft for the 3-hour flight, but we did get some nice views of Mount Rainier on the way into Vancouver. Since the plane was so small, they suggested I check my carry-on luggage. That was a mistake, since none of our luggage ever left Denver. After filling out our lost luggage paperwork, we were on the SkyTrain, heading for the cruise terminal. After having just gone through customs to get into Canada, now we had to go through U.S. customs before boarding our cruise ship. Our check-in time was 1:40, but the immigration line was so long we didn't get to our room until 3:45, with a 4 o'clock departure. Our room is a handicapped room, giving us a unique 45-degree angle balcony facing the front of the ship. Without having much to eat all day, we headed up to the Lido for a quick slice of pizza before heading out on deck for our sail away. Leaving Vancouver, we passed under the Lions Gate Bridge. It opened in 1938, with most of the funding coming from the Guinness Brewing family. The bridge was originally named the First Narrows Bridge, but in 1939 it was renamed the Lions Gate Bridge, when a pair of lion statues were placed at the south end of the bridge, in honor of a pair of mountain peaks just north of Vancouver called Lions Gate. We're traveling through the picturesque Inside Passage, but unfortunately, most of that's going to be done at night. Today's a sea day, and we spend some time in the gift shop picking out some sweatshirts, hoping to be reimbursed by the airline. The entertainers on board are a dance group, and I found the choreography between the dancers and the video wall to be very well done. After the show, we enjoyed a couple of live music performances. Our next destination is Ketchikan, where we're taking a crab boat tour. Beside crab, Ketchikan is known as the salmon capital of the world, earning that title due to its massive salmon canneries of the past. While the salmon industry is nowhere near what it used to be, salmon remains deeply ingrained in Ketchikan's culture and cuisine. Our crab boat tour, called the Bering Sea Crab Fisherman, takes place on a converted crab boat called the Aleutian Ballad. This boat has an incredible history, and it's a miracle the sea hasn't taken it many times in the past. The current captain, David Lethen, starts off with a story of how the Aleutian Ballad cheated death the first time.
60-foot waves are crashing over the boat. Vance Jones, the captain, told his crew, "We're going down, boys. We're going to abandon ship. Get your survival suit on. Zip them up." Now it's blowing 170 miles an hour. 60-foot seas. It held off right there into the Bering Sea. The last thing Vance did before they got off of this boat, he was able to grab that radio in the wheelhouse. He called, "Mayday, mayday, mayday. Our position is, we're going in the water." Another crab boat heard that mayday call. Turning around, surfing down these 60-foot waves, he began searching for these men. He found every single man alive and got them on board his boat that huge storm. When that storm went by, a couple days later, the Coast Guard got a hold of the man. "Hey man, We found your boat out there floating on its side. This boat. This is the only boat I know of that's ever been knocked on her side, abandoned, left for dead, to live another day in the Bering Sea. She made it through that storm with nobody on board. The man was an older man. He got to thinking about it, so he goes to the hardware store, came back down to the boat with this sheet of plywood that says, "For sale, I'm out of here." And I bought the boat with a buddy. Then I hired a captain named Murray Gamrat. Now Murray ran this boat for 5 years for me. If you're a fisherman, you stay awake a long time. So one night he's headed to town to offload, and he told his crew, "You guys lay down and take a nap, I got this, I'll wake you up when we get there." Murray's in the wheelhouse, it's dark out, and he's driving wide open for town. He fell asleep in the wheelhouse chair. He woke up when he hit a 500-foot cliff with rocks at the bottom. And now the Aleutian Ballad is crashing onto the rocks, ripping holes up here in the freezer room, the hydraulic room. That fish hole, that field tank, that fish hole, that field tank. Smashing and crashing onto the rocks, right up against the 500-foot cliff. He wakes up. He turned every engine off. Smartest thing he did. You see, he knows he's putting salt water in some of those fuel tanks down below the deck because it's ripping the bottom of the boat off. Now imagine, we're up against the 500-foot cliff. It's pitch dark, no engine. There's nothing for miles in every direction but a 500-foot cliff. The waves are crashing onto that cliff. You know what's worse than that? Is that every 12 seconds when that wave comes in, it picks your boat up, smashes you on the rocks, punching holes in the bottom of your boat, just like a cheese grater. Not these itty bitty holes. Some of them as big as that pop monitor right there. Oh yeah. The only thing he could do, Murray grabbed a flashlight, he went down into that engine room. And he punched a hole in that engine room, we wouldn't be here. That's where we had our fuel valves. This boat had 8 fuel tanks, 2, 4, 6, 8. He took the filters off, checking tank number 1. It was salt water. He gets to number 2, number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One left. The Murray's given up hope. He opened up number 8 and he got diesel fuel. He ran into the wheelhouse, fired this boat up. Big crab boats have big pumps. He's trying to pump this boat out as fast as it's coming in. But now it's time to back off the rocks. For all they knew, the rocks were holding this boat up from going down to the bottom. Because it's 2,000 feet deep right over there. And when he got this boat off of the rocks, he barely made it into Dutch Harbor right before the Aleutian Ballad sank. And then I got the phone call. Dave, I messed your boat up, man. He said, "Is everybody okay?" That's all I ever cared about. He said, "Yeah, but man, this is bad. I mean, it's really bad. Get a hold of the insurance company and come out here." I flew into Dutch Harbor with the insurance adjuster. And we began the survey underneath the bow of this boat. And about halfway down the boat, he stops. He says, "You need to know something. You know, in 30 years of doing this job, I've never seen a boat half this bad that survived. But we'll cut the bottom of this boat off, put a brand new bottom on this boat, you can find yourself a brand new insurance company." I sold this piece of crap twice. The first time I sold this boat, I got 75% of the money owed to me in my bank account. And I got the boat back. So then I basically gave it away to these guys. Here's the deal. 0 interest, no payment schedule. You just take the boat away and have a nice day and take it when you want. I got this damn boat back. So then in 2006, Discovery Channel brings this camera down to the boat.
For those of you that have seen the show, you may have seen this vessel profiled on season 2 getting slammed by a massive rogue wave. That wave was over 60 feet tall. This boom above me, less than 40 feet off the water. Stack another 25 feet above that, slammed this vessel, put her on her side. She went black ship. That's no power to the lights, the pumps, the engines. She's getting hammered by the Bering Sea. There's only one reason she came back on her keel that day. They had king crab in the hold already that couldn't escape. It provided weight and ballast. It got in the right part of the vessel, even keel, oil pressure, on for another day.
You tell me, is this a lucky boat or an unlucky boat? You're on the luckiest boat in the ocean. I've been a fisherman now for 50 years. I looked out on that water and I thought back on my fishing career. How much have I seen? But then it only took 10 years of driving around the Bering Sea and the Gulf of Alaska before I had enough courage to rip apart a perfectly good king crab boat that had crabfish for 25 years and turn it into a tour boat. Once we ripped this boat apart in the shipyard, I knew she would never go back. So we had to make this work. By the time we left the shipyard, we had spent 3 times more money converting this boat than I paid for it. This girl paid her dues for 25 years in that Bering Sea, and she's never going to go back. Today I know that this boat was always supposed to be right here for us and you guys. Welcome on board the Aleutian Ballad.
There's 3 different native tribes that live in Southeast Alaska. The Tlingits, they've owned this land forever. And then the Haidas and the Tsimshians, they migrated up from Canada in the 17 and 1800s. When the Tsimshians got here, they took Annette Island as their own, 80,000 acres of wilderness. When the United States government was putting nations on reservations across the land, they went to the Tsimshians to do the same thing. The Tsimshians were very wise. They said, hey, we need our land, but what we really need are the waters around our land, okay? So they asked for and they received the only sovereign saltwater rights in the whole United States of America. Once we get within 3,000 feet of their island, we cross what we call the magic line into their waters. There's no longer state or federal fishing regulations. They control everything in that water, and they allow us to do the fishing we're going to do today. The state of Alaska wasn't going to allow us to pull crab up in the middle of summer. It's out of season. So we're blessed to be able to be on their waters and do what we do. 95% of what we catch goes back into their waters. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon. Or it goes to their dinner plates, right?
Here they're setting bait for longline fishing.
All right, guys, let her go.
Going over.
Okay, watch these hooks. Boom, 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 boom. Look at that. And set the mile of that. 1, 2, 3.
A mile? What boat are you on?
Yeah, no kidding.
Here they're pulling up yesterday's line.
I want to get the other hooks off the boat before we... Sure.
Okay, this is Hydrologus colii. That means water hare in Latin. Kind of looks like a bunny rabbit up front, right? He's got a spine on the back, and if I hold him wrong, he will try to get that spine into me. There's poison in that spine. It's not enough to kill you, but it's going to enhance the rest of your fishing month. You're going to swell up, have a pretty good owie right there. Okay, now this guy right here is a wolf eel. We caught him yesterday on the line. He's actually not an eel, he's a fish, and this is a small one. They can get almost 8 feet long and weigh over 50 pounds. And when they get that big, the head of that creature is about the size of a Labrador Retriever. And if you get your hand in there, you will crush it. These guys swim across the bottom, eating clams, eating shells, chomping on anything they can get their mouths on. He's trying to do a 180 on me and get my hand. You see that? He's bending as much as he could. If I'm not holding him right, absolutely, he will bite me. Now see how this guy is expired? He had a tough night. Yeah, Andy talked about those sand fleas, those crustaceans, those little guys. They hang out in billowing clouds. We call it a hot bottom. This guy was on the hook the same amount of time as those other guys probably, but sand fleas found him. They get inside and they eat him from the inside out. You could have a 75-pound halibut hanging on that hook, and within 4 hours they will strip the inside of that thing. You'll pull it up and you'll just get skin and bones like this guy right here. Look what they did. That's how much damage they did in just about 12 hours.
Our next stop was a seal colony. You may notice the eagles among the seals. When the pups are first born, they are in danger of being taken by the eagles.
That bird going over us right now, a lot of people think that's a seagull. We're in that bay, that's actually a bagel. Now once they achieve that adult plumage, the white head and tail, the only difference between the male and the female is the females do get slightly larger. They might get upwards of 16 pounds, 7.5 foot wingspan. Males may top out at 14 pounds.
Several thousand pounds of salmon right there, you guys. Let's give those guys a hand too, huh? All right, we're in the block and we're in the coiler. Coiler does just what it says. It coils our different shots of line. So we're going to be pulling over 400 feet here. Okay, now this is a cone pot or a dome pot. And here's the way they're going to work. We're going to put bait jars around this tunnel. That's what this thing is right here. There's holes in those bait jars. Whatever fish we put in there, the juices flow in and out of there, creating a scent trail at the bottom of the ocean. They smell that and come crawl into the pot just like that. They get in that tunnel just like that, and then we got it.
All right, what I'm holding here, box king crab. Box king crab, okay? He's directly related to the king crab. They're delicious. They taste like king crab. They're sweet, they're rich. You don't see them in the commercial market simply because we cannot produce 120,000 pounds of these in a 24-hour period. Otherwise, you would see them.
This is a tanner crab. There's two types. There's bear dye and a peleo. This is a bear dye. But you're going to know them on the market as the Alaska snow crab, both of those.
You're looking at a king crab. These guys we're holding upwards of 2,500 feet deeper. They're down there on steep mountains down there. Very slow fishing. You have to be patient to fish this guy. Now, once you see it, get them back to the boat. They do have to be a male for us to commercially retain them. I'm going to tell that by this abdominal flap. The fact that it comes to a point, that's telling me this is a male. Female's very distinct. What it looks like, a big fan. And the reason she has that, she has a clutch of eggs underneath there that she's protecting. Upwards of 250,000 eggs, which is an impressive number. But get this, less than 1/10 of 1% survive. When they hatch out, they're microscopic. Everything down there is eating. They're just victims to the tide and current. Now, once you get him back to the boat, he's a male. He does have to be a specific size. You see him dump that pot on the table, the men go over there, they're throwing him in the tank, they're throwing him overboard. Years of experience. They've got an eye for the obvious. But you're always going to have a handful you're not sure of. That's when you grab that stick. You throw a short in a tank, Fish and Game gets a hold of that, you're going to get in trouble. You throw a legal crab overboard because you thought it was short, and that thing could have touched just 2 of those spines. By the time they're legal, they weigh about 6.5 pounds, and they got $17 a pound for them. So you got to check, double check. Okay, Clot's gone. He's moving pretty good. Clot's gone. Folks, we have some good history right here. You. Just like
Oh, wow. Well, they like to stick inside there's no doubt.
oh boy.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Look at that.
This is giant Pacific octopus. This thing can get upwards of 100 pounds. Incredible animal. They live to be about 5 to 7 years old. All over 200 species of octopus are venomous. There is only one that can really hurt you, and that is blue ring down in Australia. It can shut down your respiratory system in about 45 minutes. This guy here, he's got a venom, but he's going to get over the top of the crab. He's going to bite a hole in it, put that venom in it. It's going to paralyze the crab, and he's just going to start taking that thing apart and eating it.
After talking to Captain Lethen and his engineer Andy Petard, they gave us a complimentary copy of their book detailing the ship and crew's experiences at sea. Getting back to the docks at 11 o'clock, we had just enough time to get a not-so-quick burger on the ship and picking up some underwear and socks in town before making it to the 12:45 Great Alaskan Lumberjack Show. With an all aboard at 2:30, our steward was able to get our clothes washed, but that meant Marianne collecting dinner at the Lido so we could enjoy it together in the room. Tomorrow we'll be waking up in Juneau.